Psalm 115. Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory because of your faithful love, because of your truth. Why should the nations say, where is their God? Our God is in heaven and does whatever he pleases. Their idols are silver and gold, made by human hands. They have mouths but cannot speak, eyes but cannot see. They have ears but cannot hear, noses but cannot smell. They have hands but cannot feel, feet but cannot walk. They cannot make a sound with their throats. Those who make them are just like them, as are all who trust in them. Israel, trust in the Lord. He is their help and shield. House of Aaron, trust in the Lord. He is their help and shield. You who fear the Lord, trust in the Lord. He is their help and shield. The Lord remembers us and will bless us. He will bless the house of Israel. He will bless the house of Aaron. He will bless those who fear the Lord, small and great alike.
It's God's word. So, pretty excited, huh? Yeah? Everybody excited? Good. So, obviously, this is not the text for membership, which is what we had talked about, but it didn't feel quite right to be like, and let's just continue in the series when we're in this new building. Like, it's a time to stop, to pause, and to not only celebrate. I should have bought more donuts, evidently. They're all gone. So, kids, full bellies, sugar pumping through their veins. But, so we do want to celebrate God's provision, his faithfulness, and giving us like a space to actually gather in, but also, like I said earlier, a space that we can actually, we can invite in, right? Like one of the challenges that I have been convicted of in this town is that if you don't have a space, it's pretty hard to have any traction because, as you all know, it's very transient. And so we wanted to have a space, and I think God has really provided for us. But as I've been talking to you guys, I can't even remember what day it is now. I mean, I know what day it is today, but what day we moved in. But we had people out here building and helping put this together, and thank you if you were a part of that. And I know some of them are out of town now, and we want to thank them too. But as we were talking, as I have been talking to people, and even before then, I've been sensing a vibe in with you guys. And that vibe is that the feeling like God is about to do something. Like the building is just a part of what God is doing, that God is expanding his church, and that includes us, that we actually get to be a part of that. So, and it's great having a building to dream. There's so many things that we could be dreaming about and do dream about them, right? Because I don't have all the ideas, and I don't honestly want to do it all anyways. So be dreaming about it. But even more than that, God has placed us in the heart of Eagle River. And so I think it's appropriate for us to turn and ask God, what do you want us to do? So at the end of this mini sermon, that's really what we're going to do. We're going to be breaking into 4 sections, and I'll talk about what that is, and we're going to go pray throughout the building. Not just for the building, but rather that God would be glorified in what we're doing here. Because here's the thing. We could build something and try to make a name for ourselves. And that would be totally pointless. We want to make a name for him. And we want to make a name for him here. That God would bless us, that we in turn would turn to be a blessing. Because here's the reality. He gave us this space not just for us. Did you catch that? It's not just for us. As much as, I love you guys, we also have to be a people that loves people that are coming in and people that are strangers. And so this is, I think, the beginning of where we go, let's get moving. Where we glorify God in our mission. You can do that first slide there. We'll see. Maybe not. Let's go ahead and look at Psalm 115 with me. not to us. And I'm going to use the Holman standard. And why am I doing that? It's because Holman, instead, whenever they use the word Yahweh in the Old Testament, the Hebrew word for Yahweh, they actually translate it as Yahweh, not just Lord, right? Okay, so that's why I'm using it this morning. He says, not to us, Yahweh, not to us, but to your name be the glory, because of your faithful love, because of your truth. He starts off, this psalm begins with, not to us. Not to us, not any of the credit that is due here, not to us. We live in a culture and in a world where since the fall, what we have been doing is actually looking to ourselves to glorify ourselves. True? Let's just pause here and think about this. What we do in our world is we're always like, how do I bolster myself up just a little bit? How do I get ahead? Why I need people to think highly of me, right? I need this. But here it says, the personal name of God, he says, not to us twice. Okay, what's happening here? Well, whenever it's repeated, whenever words or phrases are repeated in the Bible, it's a literary tool. It can be done to draw attention, or it can be to emphasize like something intensely. It also can be a way of expressing an emotion, and in this case, I think it's all three. It's an emphasis like, not to us. Who's the emphasis on? But to you, Yahweh. It says, to your name be the glory. Now, we've talked about this many times. The naming of something is an authority, right? When you name something, like my dog Walnut, I named it. I'm the boss, right? But it says, but here it is. It's saying, to your name be the glory. Your authority. You're the power of all creation. God has all power and authority. But not to our name, but yours be the glory. But check out the next phrase. Because of your faithful love, because of your truth. See, here's the reality. God deserves all credit for creation and having all power and authority. But here he's actually saying, not to us, but to your name be the glory. Why? Because of who you are. Because of your character. Because of your faithful love. It's an ongoing faithful love. It doesn't fail. He's worthy of all praise because of his faithfulness. He is faithful. He is worthy. And here's the reality. This is people that are flawed saying, not to us, right? Just like us. He is faithful when we are not faithful. He is worthy because he is steadfast. He doesn't sway in his love. It says, because of your truth. This idea for truth here is this stability, this firmness, this security. Not to us is actually good for us. It's right and true. It's actually what we were designed to do. Not to us. If you remember the garden, people are made in the image of God. They're to reflect God, not to have their own glory, but rather we are a representation so that God is glorified. We are actually designed to worship. We're designed to worship, to say, all praise be to God, not to ourselves. And it's actually good for us to worship. All glory be to God. God alone deserves the glory for this building, for changed lives, for my circumstances, whatever they may be. You can go to the next slide. Look at verse 2. Why should the nations say, where is your God? Our God is in the heavens, and he does what he pleases. From the garden on, people have been placing themselves in a position of authority. Right? Is God actually that good? does he actually, I could be like God? I can rule? And the nations say, where is your God? The real question is, who are you to ask that question? Where is your God? It is assuming that you have authority to say, where is your God? Let me ask a question. How much of an expert are you in one topic? Just one. Expert in one topic. I mean, probably not, really. I mean, most of us are not experts at anything, but just say you have one. Now, the one thing that I know as an expert, like I'm not an expert either, but I have a friend in Seattle who's he's a scientist, and what is he? He shoots lasers. This is no joke. He shoots lasers at proteins in mosquito to cure malaria. And here's what he can tell you. He's an expert, right? Expert in his field. He can tell you this. The more we know, the more we know we don't know. And that's the reality. That's the reality of God. Like, who are we to say, where is your God? He created all things. Obviously, we're standing here. You didn't birth yourself. You didn't knit yourself together. The real question is, who is man that God would be mindful of us? That's the real question. It says, our God is in the heavens. This is the throne room of God. Remember? This is where God dwells. It's where he rules and reigns. It's the place from which he reigns. It says he does whatever he pleases. Now we could stop right there and be like, that's scary. It would be scary if the verse 1 wasn't there. That he's faithful, love, and truth. But he is, because he is faithfully loving and truthful. It's actually a wonderful thing that he does what he pleases. It's the best thing for us. Because he's full of faithful love and truth, and he does what he pleases, it's actually the greatest truth that we could have. You can do the next slide. Verse 4, their idols are silver and gold made by human hands. Their mouths cannot speak. Their eyes cannot see. Their ears cannot hear. Their noses but cannot smell. They have hands but cannot feel. Feet but cannot walk. They cannot make a sound with their throats. Now, here's the thing. He's talking about actual idols, right? Am I on? I feel like I can't hear anything. Okay. It's just maybe the new room. Here's the reality. Is, we look at it, we go, oh, how silly, right? That yes, they're making little idols, and the idols can't do anything. But we too have idols that can't do anything. Here's the reality: is God is a living God. And whatever we create is actually, and then we call that God, or we think of that as God, it does not live. God is alive. He's the one that animates and gives life. Nothing that we make or do actually produces life. You're like, well, kind of, Josh. What about AI? What about it? It does not breathe. It doesn't actually think, by the way. It doesn't actually create. It just reassembles. So at best, it's like all things, a tool, a machine. It's not alive, and it never will be alive. God alone gives life to his creatures. Verse 8, those who make them are just like them, as they are all who trust in them. You are what you eat. You know what I'm talking about? You are garbage in, garbage out. This is kind of the same idea here, that we are designed to worship the life giver. And as we turn and we worship things like whatever it is that we want to worship, be it technology or our achievements, because this is a lot of times what we're actually worshiping is our achievements or our goals or whatever it is, or maybe the lack of ours, like we need that worshiping of other people's worshiping of us. It actually is, it's like garbage in, garbage out. It's dead. It doesn't have any life. It's just like a normal idol. It will wither away at best. But Yahweh is not like an idol or ChatGTP or whatever it is. He's alive. Check out verse 9. Israel, trust in the Lord. He is their helper and shield. House of Aaron, trust in the Lord. He is their helper and shield. You who fear the Lord, trust in the Lord. He is a helper and shield. Trust. Be confident. Believe. Trust in Yahweh. He is the helper. Which, by the way, this is the same word for Eve. Just popped in my head here. Same word for Eve's job. She's a helper. It's actually spoken of God more than anyone else in the Bible. But God's people aren't just called to figure it out. That's what it's saying here. Trust in the Lord. He's not like the idols. He actually does things. He lives. He animates. Trust in him. He actually will shield you. He will help you. He will protect you. 3 times it says for us to trust in the Lord. 3, completion. Right? It's a shorthand for 7, by the way, in the Bible. 3 is shorthand for 7. I don't know how that works, but that's what it is. So in other words, here is saying, trust in the Lord. Like, that's what you to trust in, completely. Trust in the Lord. He will help you. He will shield you. This doesn't just go for individuals. Did you notice who it says here? Israel, trust in the Lord. House of Aaron, trust in the Lord. What are we getting at here? It's God's people. And then it says, you who fear the Lord, trust in the Lord. This is God's people. Trust in the Lord. Look at verse 12. The Lord remember us and will bless us. He will bless the house of Israel. He will bless the house of Aaron. He will bless those who fear the Lord, small and great alike. You see that he remembers. He has not forgotten. Now, it's interesting when we live in somewhere like Eagle River, it's easy to feel like you could be forgotten, right? Like, what are we? A little town in Alaska. But here it says that it doesn't matter how significant they are, small or great alike, God remembers. And he blesses, and again, this is repeated, that he will bless. Not he might bless, he will bless. This is not a health and wealth. I'm not talking about the health of everything. This doesn't mean that you will get a new car or a new house. Rather, this bless, which is a very churchy term. I don't think I've ever used it anywhere else but in church. It means to praise, filled with strength. It's like poet Piper says, God is most glorified when we're most satisfied in him. So the idea here is that when we glorify God, he said he will bless us. In turn, here's the reality. It's like a circular idea here, is that we bless God, we praise God, and that's actually what we're designed to do. And in that, we're blessed because we're actually becoming more and more like him and being transformed, and that is the blessing of God. We are more satisfied when we turn our attentions to him, when we worship him, when our heart matches his heart. I think this is actually important for us, and I'm going to wrap this up here real soon here. But the whole point here is that we are to glorify God, not to us. And here's the problem. We think about ourselves way too much. We do. From woe is me to I can't do it to I got this. That's all self-thought. And what it does is that actually is like turning to an idol and saying, give me life. But rather, the beginning of the psalm starts off with, not to us, not to us, but to your name be the glory. Why? Because it's actually what we need to do. We need to turn our eyes off of ourselves and turn towards him and his glory. Because his glory is glorious and it transforms us as we become worshipers. Here's the reality. Like, we have a city that's lost. People that are lost. All of my neighbors, to my knowledge, are lost. Okay? And it can be daunting, right? To proclaim the good news of the gospel. But the reality is, my job is actually just to tell them the good news of the gospel so that they might worship God and be transformed. So that they stop looking at themselves and worshiping themselves or their idols, and they turn to the true, good, and holy God and say, not to us, not to us, but to your name be the glory. And I want our church to be that. To be a church that we actually stop looking to ourselves and we start praising God. Whatever our situation is, not to us, Lord. You're the one that deserves the glory. As we think about our church in the future, yes, we need to celebrate. Yes. Celebration is gratefulness for what God has done. But we also need to recognize not only the works that he has done, but the works that he wants us still to do. And that work is to glorify him. It's about trusting the living God, not our ideas, not our money or our talent, but the living God to whom we belong to. He will bless his people. He will cause growth and flourishing in his people. Here's the reality. We don't know the future. Like, we're not a big church, right? We're not a big church. We're probably in a building that we can't actually afford. That's okay. And can you go back to the very first slide, Ethan? This has been hanging up. No, the very, very, very top slide. The Corey 10 room. There you go. This is in our house. Rosie has a chalkboard that she changes quotes or things like that, verses. And this has been up for a little bit, and it's really been striking me. And like, I don't normally like words on the wall. I find it tacky, just to be honest. But I love this. Never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. Isn't that so good? None of us know the future. We don't know what God wants us to do in this space. We have no idea. What we do know is we have a God that has called us to say, not to us, but to your name be the glory. And we trust in him because he's a known God, a living God, not an idol, and he will change things. And so we say, never be afraid to trust an unknown future. That's all of yours. That's the church's too, to a known God. We have so much to celebrate. We have a known God who is not dead, who is not made from your hands, praise God. He is living. So what I want us to do is we're gonna move into a time, we're gonna sing 2 more songs, and then we're going to come up here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to break up, and I'll tell you how it goes here, and then we'll come back, and I'll tell you again, because we'll probably forget. But the front left, which there's only 3 of you over here in the front left, that's fine. You're going to be here with me, and what we're going to be doing in this room is we're going to be praying that God would be glorified in the faithful gospel proclamation. Not just on Sunday morning, but all of us. That we might be faithful in our gospel proclamation. And then the front left, you guys can figure out where you are in the front. You're going to go with Rosie, and you're going to go into the foyer for you guys. I found out this week, that I don't know how to say that word. You're going to go with her to the foyer. And that you're going to be praying that God would be glorified as we welcome people in. As we say, welcome to the family of God. Welcome to Radiant Church. And then the rear left, Mike is on the wrong side. It's okay. Rear left, he'll be on this side. Mike is going to be going to, there's a room down there with hardwood floors. And you're going to be praying that God would be glorified as we act like a community together, as we live together, right? Because this is one thing, and the action is another. And by the way, we're going to have a potluck in that room in 2 weeks. I forgot to make the slide, but that's what we're going to be doing. And then the on this side, if you're in the back side, you're going to be going with Zach, and you're going to be going all the way down to a kid's room where you're going to be praying that God might move, and not only move in the future, but he might be glorified in how we even plan for the future.